Affidavits and Minaguf Talaani. The Committee on Rules hereby calls this virtual meeting to order. For the record, today is Wednesday, March 16th, 2022, and the time is now 3:01 to be exact. I do have some housekeeping rules. I'll go ahead and read it into the record. The host of this hearing will mute all participants until called upon by the chair. When called to speak, please ensure that you are unmuted and that you are speaking into your microphone. Members of the committee wishing to speak may indicate their desire to the chair through the in-app chat feature. During a vote on a motion, members of the committee shall show a raise of hands to confirm their vote. In the event an objection to a motion, committee members shall voice their objections to the chair. The Committee on Rules Director shall then take a roll call. All members must abide by all rules of conduct and quality assurance standards, including but not limited to using a desktop or laptop computer with a webcam and microphone built in, broadcasting from a quiet room with little or no interruptions, broadcasting from a room with adequate lighting specifically to ensure the participant's face is visible and not backlit, ensuring that the member's face is visible at all times, wearing proper attire, using only respectful and professional language and conduct, and not utilizing the virtual backgrounds during the entire duration of the meeting. Any member wishing to post questions to the clerk, Legal Bureau, or Committee on Rules staff should request the chair for a recess. The meeting will go off live stream as discussed with MIS. So at this time, we'll go to item number 2, roll call. Committee on Rules Chair, Director Ms. Mary Maravilla, please take roll call of the members put forward.
Chairperson, Vice Speaker Barnes.
Gaglia.
Vice Chair, Legislative Secretary Shelton.
Hafade.
Speaker Terlahi.
Estevito.
Senator Nelson. Senator San Augustine.
Gagizu.
Senator Rajel. Senator Terlahi.
Yeah.
Senator Perez.
Estevito.
Senator Blas.
Day, here I am.
Senator Torres.
Estevito.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Jesus Mossi, Madam Director, does the chair hear a motion to excuse members not present?
So moved.
Secretary? So moved. Is there a second? There's a second by Senator San Augustine. It has been moved by Legislative Secretary and Vice Chair Senator Shelton and seconded by Senator San Augustine that members not present be excused. Are there any objections? Hearing no objections or seeing no objections, motion carries. Item number 3, ratification of the 36th Guam Legislature's Committee on Rules meeting minutes. Does the chair hear a motion to ratify the COR meeting minutes from February 29th, 2022, which can be found in the Google Drive folder for this meeting titled 01 Meeting Minutes? Anybody? So moved by Legislative Secretary Shelton. Is there a second?
Second.
Senator Frank Blas. It has been moved by Vice Chair Shelton, Legislative Secretary, and seconded by Senator Frank Blas to ratify the Committee on Rules meeting minutes from February 9th, 2022. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. We go into Committee on Rules business, sub item A, document tracking. The first item on the Committee on Rules business is an update on the document tracking. As Legislative Secretary, I will now provide my report, which can be found on the Google Drive Legislative Secretary's report, please.
City
Proceed.
Policy, Madam Chair, thank you very much. Hafaday, everyone. The Legislative Secretary reports to date are as follows. Appointments by the governor. There are 103 appointments submitted by Governor Leon Guerrero to date. There was one appointment confirmed during the February 2021 session, 14 during the March session, 8 confirmed during the April session, 7 confirmed during the May session, 7 confirmed during the July session, 13 confirmed during the August session, 10 confirmed during the September session, 3 confirmed during the October session, 12 confirmed during the December session, 10 confirmed during the January 2022 session, and 8 confirmed during the February 22 session. Total of 93 appointments have been confirmed. Of the remaining 10 appointments, there are some pending confirmation, 4 withdrawals, and 2 have extended beyond the authorized 90-day term limit. There are 23 zone change requests at this time, and 10 rules and regulations requests. Bills have been introduced, 4 are now law, 1 approval by default. Sidious Masi.
Madam Secretary and Vice Chair. Next item on the agenda is the item of business is the ratification of referrals. The referral of bills and appointments are indicated each of the corresponding logs, which can be found on the Google Drive folder for the meeting titled 03 Legislative Logs. So does the chair at this time hear a motion to ratify the referrals?
So moved.
And that would be, is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Senator San Augustine. I'm sorry. It has been moved by Senator Secretary Amanda and seconded by Senator San Augustine to ratify the referrals. And this is bills number 250-36 through 267-36 COR and 276-36 COR. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Referral of appointments. Does the chair hear motions to ratify the referral of appointments?
So moved.
Was moved. Is there a second? It has been moved by Secretary Vice Chair Shelton and seconded by Senator San Augustine to ratify the referrals of executive appointments. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Does the chair hear a motion to ratify referrals of resolutions?
So moved, Madam Chair.
It has been moved by Legislative Secretary and Vice Chair Senator Shelton. Is there a second?
Second.
And seconded by Senator San Augustine to ratify the referrals of resolutions. Are there any objections? Yes, Senator Charisse. Would you like to comment or object?
Yes, I have no objection. I just wanted to put on the record that, so my office received a call regarding referral of a resolution that I don't think is included in this set of resolutions that we are ratifying the referrals yet. And so it's regarding resolution, a substantive resolution referral. They had called me. So I just wanted to note for the record that that there have been 31 substantive resolutions during this term, and all but one of them have been referred to the sponsors of the resolution, the primary authors, and that I suppose because that has been done, if that is going to continue, I mean, yeah, I just want that to be applied consistently, I guess, because the proposal was that one of those was going to be referred to my committee. But I don't want that to be an exception if that's not how the rule has been carried out throughout. So just wanted to put that on the record that, so I have no objections to these resolutions being heard by the authors. I know that there's one that's been set for hearings down in Agate and other places, and others that are pending. So yeah, that's just I just want to put that on the record. Madam Chair, thank you.
Duly noted, Speaker Terlahi. We will take a look at the resolution in question, and if we need to seek further clarification based on the standing rules, I will
Yeah,
let you know, just so.
Yeah. I'm not
duly
objecting
noted.
to I'm not objecting to any of the referrals that have been made, including those to the authors of these substantive resolutions. And I'm asking that policy be continued. Yes, thank you.
Duly noted. So are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Next on the session agenda is item number 5, reports of standing committees. We will now move to the consideration of items eligible for placement on the session agenda. Members of committee reports of the following items have been duly filed and met the Committee on Rules Committee report deadline. And if I'm not mistaken, we have the bills have already been sent out. So at this time, I will recognize the Vice Chair, Legislative Secretary Shelton.
Madam Chair, I move to place bill number 158-36 LS introduced by Tina Rose Muña Barnes, Mary Camacho Torres, Amanda L. Shelton, Joe S. San Augustine, Clinton E. Rogel, Jose Pito Terlahi, Frank Blush Jr., James C. Moylan, and V. Anthony Atta, an act to add Chapter 54 to Title 17 Guam Code Annotated relative to building up Guam's healthcare capacity, and to cite this act as the Barada Act onto the session agenda.
On that
Second.
motion, there's been a motion made by Secretary Shelton, Vice Chair, and seconded by Senator San Augustine on Bill number 158. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Senator, Secretary and Vice Chair Shelton, you are recognized.
That's all. Thank you, ma'am.
That's it, Speaker Therese Terlahi, then I'll recognize Senator San Augustine. I apologize. Speaker.
Thank you.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move that bill number 68-36 as amended. It was introduced by the Committee on Youth by request of Congressman Manhobin Guahan, the Guam Youth Congress. It's an act to amend sections 88-103 and 88-104, and to add a new 88-103.1, all of Chapter 88, Title 5, Guam Code Annotated relative to adding youth representation to Ikumisyon, Ifinutremoro, and Ifinanakwen, Historias, and Ilinatla, Itautotanum, the Commission on Chamorro Language and the Teaching of the History and Culture of the Indigenous People of Guam, and to cite this act as the Manhoban Para Ifinota Act. This was submitted to COR. And so if it's approved already, yeah, I'd like to add that to the agenda. And if it's not, then I'd like to put it on the proposed items, please. That's 68. That's reported out of our committee.
Reported out. Is there a second to that?
Madam Chair, I'll second it, provided that it clears core. As long as it clears core, we're good. Came from the youth.
There has been a second by Senator Joe San Augustine. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Oh, wait, I do apologize. Senator Frank Blush, I apologize. Did you, all those in favor, are there any objections? Seeing or hearing no objections?
Madam Chair, before you go to the vote, has that been cleared through core? If it hasn't been cleared, until cleared, it's, even though I second it.
Executive Director, just because I just want to make a clarification there. I'm looking over, is it been cleared?
Vice Speaker, it is currently in review.
I do apologize. I will note for the record, duly noted. Thank you, Speaker.
I'd like to note also, it was submitted March 11, 1:44 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Speaker, and duly noted. as the potential, and we can work it when we get there. Thank you so very much. Speaker Terlahi, is there anything else?
I'd like to add another bill for, well, yes, if I could just move bill number 41-36. COR as introduced by Teresa Terlahi, an act to amend 4210 of Chapter 4, Title 19, Guam Code annotated relative to expediting social studies and reports for adoptions.
Is there a second to that?
I second that.
It is seconded by Senator Pito Terlahi. All those in favor? I do apologize. Are there any objections to this motion? If seeing or hearing no objections, motion carries. Speaker Terlahi, anything else?
Yes, I'd like to add to the potential items list a bill by Senator Nelson, but this one was reported out of our committee as well, and Public Health has asked if we could move on it in this session. They would like that. It's Bill 169-36 COR as amended, introduced by Talina Cruz Nelson. It's an act to amend Appendix A, Appendix B, Appendix C, Appendix D, and Appendix E of Chapter 26, Title 9, Guam Code annotated, relative to updating the list of scheduled controlled substances provided in the Guam Uniform Controlled Substances Act. So this is just the listing of controlled substances has been updated by this bill. It was just submitted to CORE. We just finally got the votes, so we submitted it to CORE today at 2:54 p.m., right before the meeting. So I just like to add that to potential items.
Thank you very much, Speaker. If there are no other requests, I will go ahead and move on to Senator Joe San Agustin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to add Bill 211-36 CR as amended by the Committee on General Government Operation, Appropriation, and Housing, introduced by myself, an act to amend Section 5103F of Article 1, Chapter 5, Division 1, Title 12, Guam Code annotated relative to increasing the compensation for the Board of Commissioners of the Guam Housing and Urban Renewal Authority. And I'd like to advise my colleagues that that bill does not require a committee of the whole because that's fully funded by the federal government. It does not draw any funding from us, from the government.
211-36. Is there a second to this bill?
That's 211.
Yeah, 211-36. There is a second by Speaker Terlahi. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing no objections, motion carries. Senator San Agustin, you're still recognized.
Thank you. Only one for potential is Bill 213-36 COR, introduced by myself, an act to add new Section 8119A to the Guam, to Chapter 8, Title 12, Guam Code annotated, establishing an exemption for the construction of a new 41 megawatt Cabras ultra low sulfur diesel unit on lot 261 and 257 U.S. Navy Apra Harbor reservations. The bill is in development with Senator Clint's committee, and it may get done. And if it's not, at least I want to make sure there's potential if it does get done on time.
Senator San Agustin, duly noted. Okay. If there's nothing else, I will go to Senator Sabina Paris.
Affidavit, Vice Speaker. Thank you.
Okay.
I'd like to make the motion to place Bill number 236-36 COR as amended by the Committee on Environment, Revenue and Taxation, Labor Procurement, Statistics, Research and Planning, sponsored by myself, Senator Sabina Flores Perez, Speaker Teresa M. Terlahi, Senator Joanne Brown, Talina Cruz Nelson, James C. Moylan, Joe S. San Agustin, Clinton E. Rangel, and Tello T. Taitigui. It's an act to amend Section 5213 of Subarticle B, Chapter 5, Title 5, Guam Code annotated relative to strengthening the requirements of small purchases.
Second.
On the motion by Senator Sabina Paris, Majority Whip, as seconded by Senator San Agustin. Are there any objections to this bill? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Senator Sabina Paris, you're still recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'd like to place on the agenda, it was submitted on time. It's Bill number 224-36. I understand it's being reviewed. So I just wanted to get confirmation. Can I place it or should I add it as a potential bill?
I did as a potential. I don't see it on the list here.
Okay,
As a potential, duly noted.
okay, so yeah, I would like to place as a potential item, bill number 224-36 COR is amended by the Committee on Environment, Revenue and Taxation, Labor, Procurement, Statistics, Research and Planning, introduced by myself, Senator Sabina Flores Perez, and co-sponsored by Senators Teleti Tactigui and Senator Joanne Brown. It's an act to repeal Chapter 19, Division 3 of Title 30, Guam Administrative Rules and Regulations, and to add a new Chapter 2 to Title 12, Guam Administrative Rules and Regs, relative to clarifying insurance continuing education. So
Thank you. Duly noted. Anything else?
there are no other amendments at this, or no other motions at this time.
Thank you, Senator Perez. Senator Pito Terlahi.
Madam Chair, I just want to acknowledge the nomination for now, but let's just go ahead and do the bills first.
Please proceed. So you don't have any bills at this time?
No,
So,
if you want me to go ahead and
Yes.
acknowledge the nomination, I will.
yes, sir, if you want, yes, I will give you that we'll go ahead and proceed and I'll come back to the appointments.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll come back to you. Senator Mary Torres.
I have nothing to add to the proposed agenda, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesus Mossi. Senator Torres. Senator Frank Blas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'd like to be able to move Bill 171-36 LS, introduced by myself, Senator Joseph Augustine, and Senator Anthony Ada, an act to appropriate the sum of $250,000 from the revenues received pursuant to 11 GCA Chapter 42 available for fiscal year 2021 to the Valley of the Latte LLC for the purpose of creating a cultural center that will provide a place where the Chamorro culture can be celebrated and the cultures of our region appreciated.
There's been a motion made by Senator Frank Blas for Bill number 171-36 LS. Do I have a second to that? Is there a second? It meets the guidelines. It's a part of the Bill 171-36 LS. It is has completed the process. So is there a second to that? Speaker Terlahi, do you?
Yeah,
Do
I just
you
have a question. I thought that this funding source, 11 GCA Chapter 42, available for fiscal year 2021, is not available anymore, or that it wasn't clear. The bill is still in its original form. Yeah. Right.
Senator Blas, do you have a response to Speaker
Well,
Terlahi?
and I appreciate the concern there. I would just appreciate if we can put it on this and if we cannot answer that by the time session starts, then I will gladly pull back on it.
So there's been a motion by Senator Frank Blas. Do I have a second? Do I have a second to that? There is a
With
second.
caveat. With the caveat.
There is a second.
With the caveat, Madam
There
Speaker,
is a second. Thank you. There has been a second to that. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none? Motion carries. Senator Blas, is there anything else?
Yes, Madam Speaker. On behalf of Senator James Moylan, I'd like to be able to move Bill number 247-36 COR as amended by the Committee on General Government Operations and Housing, introduced by Senator James Moylan, Senator Joseph Augustine, Amanda L. Shelton, and Christopher M. Duenas, an act to amend subsections 53101B and 53102 and add a new section 53109 of Chapter 53, Title 11, Guam Code Annotated, relative to transferring the authority of the Guam Able Savings Program from the Department of Revenue and Taxation to the Department of Administration, and authorizing the governor to identify and transfer up to $250,000 from the general fund to implement the program.
Second.
On that motion by Senator Frank Blas, there is a second by Senator Joe San Augustine. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none. Motion carries. Senator Blas?
Last one, Madam Chair, Chair, in behalf of Senator Talatidegui, a motion to consider the placement of Bill 239-36 COR as introduced by Senator Talatidegui, Senators Joanne Brown, Teresa Mtalahi, and Sabina Flores Perez, is an act to add a new section 70134 to Chapter 70 of Division 3, Title 11, Guam Code Annotated, relative to business license requirements for entities engaging in the placement of children in adoptive homes. This, from my understanding, Madam Speaker, has left the committee. It should be with the Committee on Rules. And if it is so, if it's ready, good to go, then a consideration to be placed on the agenda.
Duly noted, Senator Blas. I'm going to yield back to the Legislative Secretary for the proposed bill on Bill 123-36 by Senator Toniata. Do you have the heading on that?
Thank you very much.
If she's going to do it, go ahead.
Wait, I apologize, Legislative Secretary. Senator Blas, anything else?
No, that's it, Madam Chair. That's it. Thank you very much.
Secretary, Vice Chair Shelton on proposed bill.
Yes, at the request of the chair, I'd like to mention Bill number 123-36 COR for the potential list of items to be placed on the session agenda as amended by the Committee on Public Accountability, Human Resources, Guam Buildup, Hagåtña Revitalization, Regional Affairs, Public Library, Telecommunications, and Technology, introduced by V. Anthony Atta, Joanne Brown, Frank Blas Jr., Sabina Flores Perez, Christopher M. Dueñas, Tello T. Tidegui, and Clinton E. Rogel, an act to amend Section 2108 of Chapter 2, Title 4, Guam Code Annotated, relative to requiring employees who resign from Government of Guam employment to submit to drug testing to retain reemployment rights if said resignation was tendered subsequent to an employer's announcement of drug testing. Siduos Masi, Madam Chair.
Duly noted, Secretary, Vice Chair Shelton. Thank you very much. On the next on the agenda.
Sorry, can you just clarify the status of that bill, please? Yes.
It has been submitted, has just recently been submitted to Committee on Rules for clearance. The report has been routed and sent to the Committee on Rules for review.
Is it amended?
Yes, it is. It is amended,
Okay.
Madam Speaker.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. And I guess work with this on appointments. I'll recognize Senator Majority Whip Perez on a nomination.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I'd like to move the nomination of Stephen P. Carbolito to serve as a member of the Guam EPA Board of Directors. And it was, processed by the Committee on Environment, Revenue, and Taxation, Labor, Procurement, Statistics, Research, and Planning. So I'd like to make the motion to add this onto the agenda.
With the recommendation to do pass, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, with the recommendation to do confirm.
Thank you. Is there a second to that motion? Is there a second for Stephen P. Carbolito? There is a second by the secretary. On the motion to place Stephen P. Carbolito as a member, to serve as a member of the Guam Environmental Protection Agency Board of Directors. Are there any objections to place on the agenda? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Senator Pito Terlahi.
Madam
You are-
Chair, I want to report out the Committee on Public Safety Emergency Response. Can you hear me, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Okay.
Consigue, por favor.
The Committee on Public Safety Emergency Response, Military and Veterans Affairs, Marriage Council, Public Transit hereby reports out the nomination of Julian C. Jansen to serve as a member of the Guam Regional Transit Authority Board of Directors with the recommendation to do confirm.
Second,
On the motion by Senator Pito Terlahi to place the nomination of Julian C. Jansen to serve as a member of the Guam Regional Transit Authority Board of Directors with the recommendation to do confirm, seconded by Senator Joe San Augustine. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Okay. Motions to place. So on the draft session agenda has been provided to each of you, which can be found in the Google Drive folder for this meeting, which is draft session agenda. Do I hear a motion for the bills and resolutions and in the second reading file and appointments under the legislative concurrence? Do I hear a motion to place?
So moved.
Subject to consider,
Say that again, Senator Blas.
subject to the considerations that have been approved.
The potentials, so moved. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Sabina Paris. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none.
Are we voting on the session agenda or something else?
No,
No,
this
it's
is session.
the,
On the adoption?
yes.
Okay.
Subject again to the approval and of the other items for consideration.
Potential.
All right, and I would ask, that an item be placed under motions on the session agenda or the draft session agenda that says motion to place on the session agenda from the potential items listing, and that the potential items listing be attached to that agenda. That's
I
how we
second that.
And there's a second by Senator, on the motion by Speaker Therese Terlahi, seconded by Senator Blas. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Now we will go through the adoption with the placement of these bills and resolutions in the second reading file and this appointment under the legislative concurrence. Is there a motion to adopt the session agenda?
Second,
Is the motion by Secretary, seconded by Secretary Vice Chair Shelton, and seconded by Senator Johnson? Oh, you guys are fast. Are there
Is
any
the cart
objections?
before the horse?
Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. If there are no objections, in accordance with the standing rules, the agenda will be published within the next 24 hours. And we come to item number 6, colleagues, extension of remarks. Is there anyone who wishes to share or be heard on the extension of remarks? Speaker.
Yes, I just
have
wanted to say, yes, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just want to say welcome back again, because we're so used to these rules meetings under the legislative secretary. And I want to thank her for her work. She did excellent work as the chair of Committee on Rules, but I want to welcome you back. It's very great to have you back.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you for those kind words. And again, I was going to extend my to my Vice Chair and Legislative Secretary Shelton for a job well done. And I understand it ran really smoothly. And of course, to the team, the Executive Director and the core committee team, it's not always easy. There are a lot of roller coaster rides, but you know what? We've always come out at least working this Committee on Rules meeting very well. So thank you for your working closely with me on these issues. Are there anyone else wishing to be heard for extension of remarks? If not, does the chair hear a motion to adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
It's been moved by Senator San Augustine to adjourn and seconded by Legislative Secretary and Vice Chair Shelton. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. We are adjourned. Undaklo na si Diyos Masi. Si Diyos ang binidisi amzo. Adios.